Joined right now by one of our Boston Power players, John Neale from Sprogis and Neale in the South End. And John, there was a recent article in the Boston Globe talking about the flower exchange, and I think the title was Flower Exchange Out, Tech Coming In. It's really kind of the last piece there of the South End.
It is. It's the big dust up in the South End. There are fewer and fewer sites for development, and one of the largest sites left in the South End that hasn't been developed is, in a bigger way, is the old Boston Flower Exchange on Albany Street, right down by Boston Medical Center and Boston University School of Medicine. And the site has been sold now to the Abbey Group, which is a well-known Boston development company. And they've proposed one of the biggest developments ever in the South End. And it's the first time I've ever heard the word billion used to talk about the price.
It's a big number.
They're spending $1 billion to build 1.6 million square feet of biotech office space. They're right next to a CDC lab there, and they really want to compete with Kendall Square. So this is all happening right between the South End's bottom street and the Southeast Expressway. So it's really the last place you could build something that big in the South End.
And pushed all the way to the limit. Right?
Yes. But at the same time they're building that, there are a whole group of other developers, well-known developers, building out some of those last blocks between Harrison Avenue and Albany Street, and new residential buildings going in there. Directly across from the old flower market, over 600 apartments are under construction right now. Another new condo building going in over there, just a couple of streets over, and they're doing another old church over in the South End, very nearby, as part of the old Boston College campus there. So it's hard to keep track right now.
A common question coming into the show a lot is the city being overbuilt? And with development like this, like you're talking with the Flower Exchange and all this biotech coming in and the jobs that come with it, and there's plenty of opportunity right there to be soaked up housing-wise. I mean, there's places to live right there, which is great.
They're really incredibly complementary projects. The South End, on that southern border there along the expressway, Albany Street, Harrison Avenue, has been really low density for a long time. Just a lot of surface parking lots and nothing that you really wanted to walk by because there was just really nothing there. So it was the ideal site for added development in the South End. People still want to be near all those restaurants and the existing South End Landmark District, the beautiful old townhouses and the small streets. They're all going to be within a couple of blocks of all of that, living in these new modern buildings that are going up. And office workers love to walk to work. That's nothing new. As traffic in Boston continues to get worse, and I know everybody we ever talk to always complains about it, it's everyone's real dream to be able to just buy or rent a place and walk to their job each morning, and they have time to read the Boston Globe.
So you've been selling real estate in the South End for a long time. It must be interesting for you to watch that wave almost just kind of push out to the limits.
Yes, I've been selling real estate personally, and our company has been for decades, and we've watched it. You know, originally we had to kind of struggle to get people to cross Columbus Avenue to come into the South End back in the 1980s. By the 90s and the 2000s, you know, the line just kept moving every 5 to 10 years. Buyers would say, I don't want to be anywhere below Tremont Street at one point. Tremont was the dividing line for a while. Then suddenly the line shifted and it was Shawmut Avenue, because there were a lot of nice restaurants showing up around there. And people say, hey, I'll look down to Shawmut. And then, of course, Washington Street happened, which was a huge development in the South End. And Washington Street became the new border. Then, of course, it moved to Harrison Avenue. And frankly, we're looking at the very last possible move, which is Albany Street.
Yep. Can't
There's
go any
really
further.
nothing beyond that. You're either in South Boston or the Southeast Expressway at that point. So it's been very satisfying for people who work in the neighborhood and have been following it all these years. In that we live there and we do a big part of our business there, and it's time if people want to jump in while there's still time. We only have one Starbucks right in that part of the neighborhood on Tremont Street right now. They always say you should get there before Starbucks does. There are a few opportunities where Starbucks hasn't shown up yet, so get near there.
Thank you, John. And if you'd like to learn more about the development in the South End, check out the article in the Globe, Flowers Out, Tech In. And remember, for any of your real estate needs in the South End, check out Sprogis and Neale at sprogisneale.com. More tips just like this right here below on boston.com.